Okay, 2025 AMC 12A problem 4. It's a logic problem. So Agnes writes the following 4 statements on a blank piece of paper. At least one of these statements is true. At least 2 of these statements are true. At least 2 of the statements are false, and at least 1 of these statements is false. Each statement is true or false. How many false statements did Agnes write on the paper? So it's just a logic problem. There's not a lot of math we can do, so we just have to go in and see what can or cannot be true. So let's look at this last one first. At least one of these statements is false. If this one was false, that means every statement has to be true. And this statement is false, then it can't be true. So if this one is false, that means not at least one of these statements is false, so all the statements have to be true. But that's a direct contradiction because this statement is inherently false. So we can't have that it's false because then we have a contradiction. So this statement must be true. And if this statement is true, we have the first statement is true because at least one of them is true. And now if you have 2 truths, then the second statement is also true. We have 3 truths. But remember this one says at least one of them is false, and we know that at least one of them is false. And so this one has to be false because if this one was true, then this one would be contradicted because all of them would be true, and then this one would be false, and then we'd have that broken logic right there. So we found it's TTFT. One of them is false. That's our answer.